Hey, what's going on, y'all? Back with another one. Back with another one. This is the Daily Hump Dump, the 40. I think it's the 44th edition. The 44th edition, or should I say the 45 edition? Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. 45 edition. Let's see something real quick. Yeah, yeah. The 44th edition. Okay. Let Let me get. Oh, sometimes. All right. Let's see what's in the chat. Okay. I gotta see. The inside settings is kind of mediocre. Okay. What's going on, TC Killer? Salute. It's been a long time no see. Yeah, I'm trying to, figure these new controls out. It's a lot going on, a lot to talk about. But we're going to talk about I saw a video from Average Unplug. He was right about certain things, certain videos. I'm not subscribed to. I don't even care if it's content. But it's a lot of things going on. It's a lot of, shouts to APTV. I won't probably share some of his stuff later. I'll try to see what I can find. I might have to look at his stuff for a minute and put him out in the algorithm and all that. So, I'm gonna look into it later after stream. I promise. But yeah, it's a lot to talk about. You got this infighting, but Sarge SWP's got a book called Black Matriarchy. Y'all can get it from I think Amazon for $9. Me personally, I'm just gonna shout him out, salute to him, man. Keep up the work and just keep that shit in rotation, man, because it's a lot to learn from his content. He's old school. He's not your traditional what you call it, the non-traditional so-called red pill, these frauds out here, but the real one he's talking about, and then he talked about the space I talked about last week. A lot of these dudes that are anti, red pill, red pill is not a small community. It's actually big as you think. It's not the biggest in the world, but it's the biggest, I would say, online and a little bit of offline. If you actually do the things, it's like a small minority outside of public. But if you're actually practicing what you're preaching, or actually what you're teaching and preaching, and living a lifestyle, you are. It's a handful, but the majority of these dudes, they're just in the matrix. They're in the blue pill utilitarianism that I've always said about 4 years ago. Me and Cerulean talked about. I think this is very telling. And these dudes that's younger than us, they ain't been in the conversation, even if they are our generation or not. They don't understand what the hell it's talking about. But I'm passing down to the younger people. That's Gen Alpha and Gamma. If they listen to this someday, or whoever saves this stream, whatever in the future. I'm just saying, keep doing your thing. The research is out there. Do not listen to Chat GPT. That's AI, and AI is going to be regulated if the Democrats win the midterms. Me personally, Republicans had a chance to win this coming up next year, and after, I don't, not right now, because Democrats is trying to win. They trying to get some of their. The one thing about so-called white people, they want their money back. Okay, Trump is nothing but an experiment. Shouts out to Langston. He said something yesterday. I saw one of his videos. He said there's an extinction going on with the so-called of those people, right? That's been going on years. See, the reason why the race mixing was a farce, that was just to keep those numbers up. True. But the thing is, you got to keep in mind that it's over for this kingdom. I've been saying this 4 years ago. That's been the thing. Everybody's been saying, SWB's been saying it. But once you take the money out of their hands and out of their mouths, they're trying to regulate the snaps. You got to eat healthy now instead of eating, mess. They're trying to focus on it. RFK. They're trying to push that narrative. Here's the problem. They've been advertising that stuff for years, but you got to realize that's standard. So I don't understand why people are surprised by all this. This is about money too. They're trying to drive up costs and how you eat. Most of these people ain't gonna make it, bro. These people ain't gonna make it. They're just not gonna make it. Um, I don't know what to tell y'all, but no, nobody's gonna make it in this stuff right here. You just got to look at what's going on. But I'm not saying that to be quite chilling. It's a damn shame that people still believe that the world is not really like that. I'm not saying that to be mean or anything. I'm just keeping that in mind. Y'all have to understand the world is different. It's very different for what it was. Um, me looking at it for what it is. See, the one thing about me, I'm gonna tell the truth about what happened to you two, what happened to the world, what happened to the world that we see. Right? There's a lot of fucked up things about the so-called relationship content. It's become stale and trash. But what you got to realize that people are struggling with this money thing, and that's the thing that I see. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm just browsing to my stuff. Um, and a lot of people are just struggling out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, when you look at the stuff that's going on, you see that people are, people are suffering for depressions and things like that. But you got to look at the big picture. Society is very changing as we see rapidly. Um, and that's what you got to see. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not tripping off what's going on. Like, you got wars going on, proxy wars and things like that nature. You just got to look at it from that angle. I'm not tripping off of what's going on, but it's the stuff that you see. I'm just not saying that everybody's going to be on board with everything. You know, hey, what's going on, Khalil? Salute, salute. But that's the thing. Like, I've been looking at his content, everybody else's content. They talk about red pill spaces and doing things that part the contrary. It's a lot of stuff that's going on. Like, and then I saw the Laker game last night, which is disgusting, even though I'm a Pistons guy. And they just don't play defense. And shouts out to the brother that locker room. He's a Lakers fan, diehard. My dad is too. And he said something. I said, Luka's just standing around like he did in Dallas. Like that. A lot of people try to say that's the worst trade. It is the worst trade. Even though that helped Dallas to make AD better, even though he's injury prone, that's saying something. No, he's good. AD won a championship in the bubble. A lot of people don't count the bubble ring like they want to call it. But Luka looks bad out there. I stayed up all night watching that on the East Coast, and I barely up getting this morning. But there's a game going on right now with the Warriors and I believe the Hornets right now on NBA TV. You can look at it on different platforms. They got it on, I believe you can watch it on YouTube TV or a place like Fubu and you name it. But man, it's a lot of things going on. But back to the relationship content holders, talking about things that lots of red pill space is equals to white supremacy, bunch of nonsense. A lot of these niggas that talk like that are coons. They're C words. They are anti-black men. You know what I'm saying? Pro-black men believe in the Second Amendment. They do, historically. And the SWP is absolutely correct. Malcolm, all those guys had guns. But see, back in the day, black people didn't have a lot of guns. So you know how the racism in the system, according to the 20th century, was standard. Now you can't make those excuses no more. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid irrelevant to say, oh, we can make those excuses right now. You can't say shit like that. Let me see what's going on here. Content wise. But you got niggas say the pathetic life of the internet alpha male. But this guy's a clown. He's for entertainment. I just use him for entertainment. And then you got iHip. They try to be like TYT so bad, even though they're from Oklahoma, but they are a little bit of misandrous, but you learn from them. I study these people, how they do content, but then you got this clown, BH. He's what's wrong with cat gaming. Like they call it gaming. I hate the term game. No, that's just a hobby, sir. You're a casual, you create more casuals, and then they hate on you. Yeah, you saying some truth in your shit, but you be lying at the same time. No, people know what they talking about with a PC. He don't have all the answers. He tries to be a developer. He'll never be. He's a wannabe. That's all the hell he is. And then you got Jew Almighty defending DDG crash shouts over his parasocial haters. DDG is a narcissistic piece of shit that has a utilitarian mindset. Everybody should worship him. Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. His fans are parasocial, not those haters. You should never address a hater. If a hater hates on you, if you're that wealthy or whatever, stop speaking to him. And I tell people all the time, if you don't like something posted on the internet, get off the internet and have a team of you, data deleters, or whatever you want to call them, delete your shit off the internet. If you can't handle it, get off and pick a different hobby. That's all I'm saying. The internet it's expensive in certain ways. It's a tool, but you don't have to live your life on it. Hell, they got AI to replace you. So DDG was stupid to do that interview with those kids. He looks like an idiot. His audience, his fans, his kids, that's worse than Castanet. And then he talked about the mental health thing. I thought it was kind of stupid for him to address it. If you have mental health, man, get off the internet, bro. That's all I'm saying. It's not the video games, it's the internet aspect. If you can't handle it, get off the internet. I tell people all the time, pick different hobbies outside, build with your hands, build certain technology to keep you at peace, and don't get into this social networking / what they call media. Well, get out the media game. Stop showing your face on camera a lot. That's the problem. See, a lot of people get stressed over bullshit. And this is why the red pill space back in the day was standard, because you didn't have all this same sexual bullshit with relationships. You actually did things. You have to have real hobbies. Go outside, cut the limbers, do what you got to do for your communities. And sometimes you got to be effective enough to do the things you're doing. See, when jobs wasn't scarce back then, when I was coming up, even the 2 years I did during the Trump era, and Obama and Trump era / in that era into the Trump era, I did that shit for 2 years. Prior to that, I was in trainings to help people, volunteering, getting paid for it. I was doing that before I came back to these second wave manosphere bullshit. The first wave manosphere was great. Red pill space, actually red pill space, it had different names, different layers. Everybody was on pro black shit. That's what it was back on old YouTube from, I'll say 06 to probably 2012. I came to YouTube in 2007, 18 years ago, with a different channel name. Lost the channel in 2012, got this channel, boosted up, talk about historical shit, dark history shit. I started going, and then a little bit of politics there and there, and then a little bit of sports with the podcasting and streaming later on during the pandemic, talk about various things like current events, what's on the internet, what's trends, shitty trends that you see today. But I always been in that arena. You know what I mean? But when I talk about politics and other shit in sports, I did that on the job as well. But I did it casual because they had sports on the TV, what I thought about it. We dissect information. I didn't tell them about my YouTube channel on the job before they made it a rule. I just didn't want to promote it because I have a different lens of how I look at the world, you know what I'm saying, and how we fought against the system. So it's pretty much telling for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like back then it was rough, but it was standard. So yeah, man, like these dudes that be complaining about relationships and shit like that, I just don't take them serious, bro. Like I don't take none of these people serious. What's so bad about it? Most people ain't shit in life. They I heard this dude said homosexual. Now, where did he get that from? He got that from the 2 Point Ho manosphere. Yeah, homosexual is a real thing. You know, people say they couch surfing. And that's common today. It's like that online. You got it easy online, and that Trump made it look easy for y'all. See, if it was Kamala, y'all wouldn't have none of this shit. It'd be restricted. You'll have some of the freedoms. Don't get me wrong. Y'all be bitching, complaining about these females, and then there'll be a lot of school shooters. And Charlie Kirk wouldn't be. I mean, excuse me, aka the golden ticket, which y'all call CK. He wouldn't have got executed. But apparently, when you lean towards the right, there's a lot of terrorism and crime going up. And they're in a rude awakening next year because people are tired of their shit because they want their money. See, this is about money. Politics always going to be about money. People don't have no food; they want money. Billionaires are finito at this point because there's going to be new billionaires replacing. They're going to be foreign. Y'all better be careful, man, because I know what I'm saying. And TikTok has been destroyed. So if TikTok is owned by the system that they rail against those foes over there in the Holy Land, um, it's over. You can't really come back from it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shouts out to Khalil. And yeah, stay off the internet, man. It's that simple. If you got family, get off this shit, man, because the internet is already centralized enough. They've been censoring the internet for years and years prior, and censorship is not working. It loses money. You lose money off the internet. Yeah, I do know that the internet is a dying breed because if you censor shit, you lose money. So the elites be like, oh shit, we need people. You know what I'm saying? They want people on them servers. That's how they stay in afloat. That's how they stay in power. They don't need to enslave people because it's bad for business. They don't want uprisings. They really, and I hate to say it, they don't want that because that's bad for business. They want some control. Always remember that. And shouts out, I think Langston said that. Did he say that yesterday? Yeah, he said that yesterday. Because I just tried a new game in the zombie. I had to ditch Outriders. I had to uninstall it, put it back in the library. I done played that shit from last year to this year in 2025. This is New Year's Eve edition. We just want to like to talk about real things over here. We'll talk about sports later on, but back to the red pill stuff. The red pill stuff is standard back then. It will never go away. They say, "Oh, the red pill space is dead" because you got these C words out here, these double agents from the fake left because there's no true left really in politics. Let me tell you something. The left have died since the early 21st century, and it's been finito for years. So it's nothing they can do about it. So the stuff they talking about is bullshit. I'm just telling you right now, it's a lot of bullshit going in people's waves. And I'm just saying that, yeah, let me share my boy Absalom for a minute. And it's just right there. It's a lot of mess going on under Trump's little culture. I call it Trump culture, by the way. Trump culture is real. You know, this stuff is it's really sad. What's going on? You know, the babies and shit like that, and you know what I'm saying. Like y'all got to get y'all's priorities right. It's a lot of people are fucked up out here, and we got to stop. We got to stop, and you know, I shared you out. Okay. But you got to look at these things and say, man, this is fucked up. He said, why is it bad around the world? Well, the economy's fucked up. It's a lot of things fucked up out here. Who are control? Yeah, that's the model. Yeah, they don't want to. That's bad for business. They don't want revolutions. They don't want things like that because elites don't do that. They like to control opposition. That's about money. They want to control crime. See, Democrats are the police. I try to tell people, yes, they want the same BS like the Republicans do. They want money, but they do it in a police way. They want the military-industrial complex. Military-industrial complex is a big business in the United States. It will always be standard. It will always rule the land, even though economics is second. Always remember that. Yes, capitalism is their religion. I always said that. And I always said utilitarianism is the culture. They said, why is utilitarianism bad, sir? Well, you have to look at Epicureanism. I talked about this 4 years ago that America uses WS or white supremacy, what they are so called, it's really not supreme at all. It's a tool to control people, but it's hurting their own people. The proletariat, so called white man, right? What Sarge would say, a proletariat person is nothing but a pawn to the elites, and they'll get rid of them and replace them with an immigrant. So yes, they don't want revolution because it's bad. It's bad business. It's bad. They don't want anything. They just want to control you. See, when you actually talk about a proletariat person, you just know what it is. So a proletariat person is a working class, wage earners who, in Marxist theory, possesses only labor power but sell it to, the bourgeois owners. That's what, this thing, the overview say for wages. Yeah, the so-called working class or the proletariat, you know, so-called white man. But then you have working class black people. They were proletariats in the 80s and they were struggling to get jobs. Laboring class, what it is. They said, what's a laboring class? Proletariat people. Most so-called white people are proletariats. The ones that y'all think is the majority, really they're the minority of the planet. And a lot of them are struggling because the elite class is destroying them. They don't like proletariat people. They never did and never will. So proletariat people, the so-called black people, us, the brown folk, the true brown folk, the true dark skin of the people of the scriptures, always struggled in the 80s. 80s is a great example. And shouts out to SARS saying that we seen the evolution of that. We seen it online. We start doing businesses, doing trades and shit. Everybody's got their own business off this YouTube shit prior to the YouTube shit. So we start speaking our small medias, but we don't own no big media like the corporate media. Like to me, corporate media is not the way, no way. It's being obsolete. But independent media, black folks got that. They don't need corporate media, so we're independent. So in politics next year, this coming up next year or tomorrow will be next year, right? Will be the theme that where's so-called black people gonna go? Well, most of them is gonna be independent. They're gonna leave both parties. It's gonna be a clear way. Me personally, it's gonna be a clear way. If there's no good candidates on neither side of the party, same with 2028 presidential election, it's over, bro. Like if something happens to a boy in office, it's over for this country, and it's gonna be in turmoil. So somebody's gonna have a control opposition to get in power, and who's going to help these independent so-called black folk and the elites want to control that populace so they can say no, 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 we're not. They'll say no, we're not classes, we're not they're trying to say they're not utilitarian about their cultures, but see, they will lie and give you a fake shit to reel you back in. That's what they do. This is why you got a lot of distractions online. That's why I say, oh, the red pill space ain't working. No, it's been working. It's effective. Everybody's waking up to the BS that the government is collapsing. It's been collapsing for years and years, and now they're trying to keep up with it. But everybody's checking out and going overseas. Opportunities. Yes, so-called Africa is a shithole. But is it all of the shithole? No. Some parts is good and the rest of it's bad. It's just corruption and control opposition of the West practicing the shit I'm talking about right now, and it's standard. So you got all these things and you got all these motions in motion, and it's their big business. Yeah, it's always happened. That's what Republicans are known for. But if you notice, a lot of people hate these red pill spaces over the years. The ones that actually tell the truth and debate, like Malcolm and all those guys, like Martin Luther King, what Sarge was saying. I agree. They don't want that conversation. Back in the day, they was killing folks. I used to watch them old videos of them, and even on YouTube, they had it years and years ago. Even on this channel, I was watching years and years ago in 2012 and prior, and I was studying that shit because I remember what Malcolm said. I remember what he said about the liberal. Even though liberals, I look at them as the right wingers that they are. They pretend to be left, but really they think just like conservatives, but worse. That's why you hear the term libel fascists, liberal fascists, aka utilitarian people. They're the worst people. That's why Republicans are 95% liberal in their policies. They pretend to be conservative. See, conservatives are always proletariat people. You have to understand, most conservative people are proletariat people on the low. They're really the laboring working class. That's all the hell they are. Even no matter what race you are, they're actually more historically, they always been neutral on everything. If you go to countries like Scandinavia, for example, they're very neutral. They say, oh, we right leaning, you're lying, you're neutral, y'all don't go to war, y'all pussy, y'all don't kill niggas like that. No, you only get the police and everybody else to kill us, no matter what color, what race. So back in the day, it was y'all, and now you got our people done sold out and want to be like y'all, and then have us offed it in the streets. That's how the government system, the CIA, and all them want to destroy any revolutionary movement or thought in this country. They want to destroy us. They've been doing it for years. Now it's backfiring because the internet's a weapon, And that's going to backfire even more because people are going to pull the money away from it. So the elite said, no, we can't have that. We got to have control opposition. That's why grifting and fake racism is what they're pushing. That's why we call it utilitarianism in that sense. They want everybody to be happy in one way. It's like a narcissistic view in their minds. And that's why the red pill space was hijacked by a bunch of utilitarian people that is not really red pill. They're purple pilled and blue pilled as sissies that they are. And they're pushing this BS agenda. I don't even call it woke. It's nothing woke about. Woke means awaken. It was hijacked by grifters and racist liberals that don't like black people. I'm talking about the ones in the Republican Party. We already know that. Democrats don't count. Yeah, Democrats are always going to be pacifists, conservatives, proletariat people. They ain't going to let you do shit. They the police. Ain't nobody trusting their asses either. I don't view them as racist liberals. Now, they try to be liberals. Here's the thing. They won't go far as a Democrat liberal. I'm going to tell you a secret. Most of them liberal Democrats are going to end up voting Republican in the future. They want money. Republicans care about money. They don't care about conservatism. Conservatism is probably 5 to 10% of the stuff they do in the Republican Party. And I'll tell you what happens to them when they get older. They get forgotten and discarded just like a proletariat person. This is facts. You can look this up on certain streams that people talk about. It's hard to be a conservative in the Republican Party. If you're a really independent conservative media, don't even think about joining the Republican Party. They just want to hijack you for money. Because every time when a conservative tries to be a Republican, no matter what race, they destroy you. You can't conflate that to white supremacy. White supremacy only applies in the 20th century, early 21st century, but it backfired during 9/11. That's why they're being watched by their own, and the elites is destroying that. They want to be elite white supremacists, but they don't want proletariat people to reap the benefits. This goes back to the 18th century. Like, they gave you the fake white and black titles to trick us, and in reality, they don't care nothing about y'all either. See, I'm not talking about so-called blacks being poor. No, some of us are well off. But the ones that wants to be homosexuals and all that shit, you're out of there. It's nothing for you to gain. And that's why, like I said, utilitarianism is the fabric of United States America. America has always had liberal thoughts. And yes, they use race as a tool. Liberals don't like niggas. I'm trying to tell you cool niggas that. Stop calling them leftists. They think like right wingers on the low behind closed doors. Ain't about them saying the N-word. No, they just don't like you. They're food. They're losing. They mad because they want money. It's over for them. That's why they need nigga support. They desperate. They're hypocrites. Don't listen to when people say they're the C words, but reality, they're liberals. They know exactly what they're doing. They just don't want to pay anybody. And shouts to the SWP for saying that. And I was looking at his content, and it's no need to read his book. I'll read his book just like his content. I ain't got time to read books like I used to because I have so much time, but I'll shout him out and support him and let someone purchase it. It's called Black Matriarch. And, he says it's like $9.99. That's good on Amazon. I don't even fuck with Amazon like that. But so I'm good on that. But I know his book is great. So I don't read books like I used to. I usually read it on I read actual books. Don't get me wrong. I read actual books. I got books over here right now. But I also do it on phone. I'm multi. I'm more of a hybrid. If I see it, I'm gonna support it. You know how it is. But I ain't got the time. I got so much stuff to do and things to prioritize my survival right now because I'm trying to teach this youth to understand that don't worry about relationships. They come and go. If you decide to get married, do not do red pill content. Just be free and move on, and that's it. But if you are going to do it to help the youth, that's the best way to do it. I wouldn't do it with family. Keep that as your personal hobby, and that's it. But do not bring your family into it. If you got family, just be careful because the internet's not your friend. It's a war zone. Everybody's plotting, and you know how people are because they're pathetic out here. It's a lot of desperate, lonely people doing weird shit, and terrorism is the standard of this culture right now. So it's a lot of money's being moved, a lot of moves being played, and yes, we're already in World War III. It's been like that since 9/11. Everybody said we was in World War III right now. No, we've been in World War III. It's called 9/11, 2001. And then it extended to the apocalypse. We ain't got a nuclear apocalypse, or what they call World War IV or the Armageddon. War Armageddon is massive. It's a post-apocalyptic culture. See, I'll tell you a secret. Why is there so many post-apocalyptic games selling well than GTA? And I'll tell you why. Everybody's tired of GTA. GTA is all those jack of all trades of games, open world, and it did set the standard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just reference this how society thinks. That's how they think. But if you look at games like Saints Row and Volition destroyed that franchise, and they could have been something great, but in reality, they don't want to be stupid. But that Saints Row, that sequel, put them on the map. Ever since the sequel, they ain't created nothing good since. And then the one they try to reboot was trash as well, and the sales are terrible. That says something about power. People are tired of playing mediocrity shit. This subject, what we're gonna call this is mediocrity in everything. Video games, politics, you name it, sports. Let's talk about mediocrity in general, so-called white mediocrity or mediocrity in general in these so-called red pill spaces that people complain about. And these simps that lean towards um these male feminists that you see, these double agents that claim they're anti-red pill, but in reality they're male feminists. They are double agents to somebody else, and those liberals don't care nothing about you. They're just using you for content. But let's continue. But when you see this stuff, people act like I'm just making shit up. No, you can listen to people's talking points. They sound stupid. And they think they sound intelligent, but in reality they're the dumbest people on earth that don't know about these spaces. We talk about everything. We talk about the fabric of everything. Like I said, art's supposed to be liberal. Well, liberal arts ain't shit. Liberal arts is just a mockery of real art, because real art ain't liberal. Some of it's nihilistic, some of it can be anything, and arts is not liberal as you think. Arts can be conservative, they can be a little bit liberal, they can be transparent, destructive, peaceful art. Art don't have to be those two things. No, art is art. Creativity don't make you liberal. And I can't stand that. They try to conflate progressive. Progressive means progress. You progressing to be better, not to be a damn liberal or conservative. Fuck out of here. And I hate the term progressive. Progressive can mean anything. There's no such thing as a progressive person or regressive. Most of you motherfuckers are regressive by nature. Y'all not progressive. I'm a progressive based off revolutionary thought, but I live that lifestyle. I have those thoughts, but I don't expound on it online because that's my belief system. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about commentary. My is a mix of commentary, mix of political talk a little bit, philosophies and things like that. But what I do is I dissect the problems that people, what they say about the arguments, and I tell them, look, if you're going to be pro-black, at least believe in the Second Amendment in some degree. And the reason I say that, especially in the United States, Second Amendment is standard. I say civilians should carry pistols and shotguns only. Create your own weapons, melee, you name it. But assault rifles and submachine guns, that's for military warfare. That's for a group thing. If you want those weapons, keep it at your compound, in your territories, your house, your safe zones. If a thing does break out, those weapons are okay too. But I prefer them in the combat. If I had a weapons like that, they gonna be in my little stash and territories. Because if you want a society that's Second Amendment based with civilians should carry like a pistol, shotgun. They do more damage than those guns that ever you can close quarters. Because everybody's not gonna play long range war. No proxy wars. That's crazy. But they're effective. You have the right rounds. But if you want a sniper rifle hunting, that's cool. But I'm just saying, don't use it out publicly. Unless there's some conflict, you can assist the law enforcement, whatever. And the law enforcement appreciate you because they always desperate for help. There's nothing wrong with the Second Amendment. I want the Second Amendment to be standard. But it's, oh, you sound conservative. No, it ain't got nothing to it. It's called survival. It's a lot of things. Second Amendment has its poisons, but it's not. Guns don't kill people. People do. People have thoughts and they use a gun to get you up out of there, or anything. You will never get rid of violence like that. The only way you can do that is you combat it and you fight it in a strategic way. Stealth is culture. Like I said, the stealth culture is real, and this is why stealth is necessary in life, especially in post-apocalyptic terms. I'm not saying stealth shouldn't be appropriated, but it should be in the right direction. But I'm saying it's okay to believe in the Second Amendment if you're really pro-black. Now, pro-black, that's the fight against this fake tyranny, or should I say white supremacist tyranny. I call it utilitarian tyranny because they like grifting. They like to control us in other fragments. That's why everybody's discombobulated. That's why everybody calls it. They said, why you call it the Matrix? It's the system of the Matrix is a system. What y'all call WS, that's the Matrix mindset. See, they want you to talk like that, but it really is a utilitarian mindset. They tricked y'all. See, I already know what it was online, but prior to this, see, these double agents with microphones, they have condensers and small rooms, is trying to tell you, well, you're supposed to live like a so-called progressive, but in reality, you're not progressive. You're a fraud. You're regressive and pretending to be pro-black, but you from another country and fled from Jamaica. I'm talking about this clown nigga. Like, nigga, you ran. Your daddy ran. You're a coward. Fix your damn corruption in government in Jamaica. And better yet, Nigeria. Shouts out to SWP. I saw his video about Nigeria. And yeah, them Nigerians are them Hamites, what we call them. They're clowns. Half of them are Hamites, by the way. You got some odd people over there, but in a small minority. But the majority of Hamites are dumb. Y'all destroyed them years and years ago in certain scriptures. I can't remember on the top of my head. There's certain scriptures exposing how pathetic they are, and they won't be good until we have our spirit to rule this iron fist like they, according to before. To me, it's going to be before 2050. I don't believe in 2050 propaganda because we've always been a majority. And you're seeing it by 2030, dark nations will rule. The birth rates are low on their side on Western civilization because it's dying. Hell, we've been saying this for decades. We've been saying this since 2012, 2013, when I was listening to Brother Dawood talking about the extinction of the so-called white man. They've been trying to keep up the numbers with race mixing and it's backfiring. So what are they talking about? It's a dead culture. Right? So yeah, bro, like we got to stop talking about bullshit over here. Yeah, sports is bad. Everything's mediocre. You see it in basketball, you see it everything. See, the problem with cultures today, people just want to lie on the internet. They just want to get online and just say, "Oh, this is how black culture is supposed to be," and all that. And it's cap. Black culture is still here, but it's in a bad state. But you got these C words out here, these cones, well, like we like to call them, or tap dancers. I call them tap dancers. They don't like the fact that they have to be really pro-black to actually help your people to take risks. We ain't just talking about revolution. We talking about that, if you want an economic revolutionary culture, you have to do it and move in silence. Don't tell nothing about your businesses. Just do it. And then you have to have that Second Amendment mindset. And the culture is going to anarchy real soon. Futuristic culture, like post-apocalyptic culture, everybody will be nihilistic once again and stoic and care about families. That's the whole purpose of surviving. See, you got to survive. It's performative. Yeah, it's performative. So-called modern. It is performative. Yeah, it is. And it's very performative that we speak. But like I said, everybody wants to be nihilistic in the future. That's where we're heading. The billionaires don't want that. They want to be autocrats. They have this utilitarian mindset to dictate how people's lives are. When they say, "Sir, why you say utilitarianism is the way they think?" Well, look at technology. Look at prices. Their religion is capitalism. Yes, Christianity is a tool. It's idolatry. But did you notice that they destroying the planet with their objects and shit? Hmm? And AI is a failure. AI is not the future, bro. It'll never be the future because it's going to be regulated at some point by next year and the year after. If the Democrats try to win, they're going to regulate this shit. And y'all going to be left holding the bag, being broke. And a lot of people's looking for money and trying jobs right now under Trump. Y'all going to be broke out here. Trump's broken y'all. He done bankrupt y'all. He got what he wanted and everybody else is going to be holding the bag. Democrats ain't going to fix this shit. That's going to take them about 8 years to 10 years to fix this shit. That's a 10-year process. This ain't a 5-year process. 5-year process is going to be a minute, and then it's going to be another 5 years. That'll be 10 years, and they ain't going to have an infrastructure. And what happens if people leave and go overseas in other countries? It's going to be feudalism out in this bitch. That's what it's going to be. Gainful employment is what keeps this religion going. What we call capitalism is their religion, and it's a cultural thing, but it's backfiring. Other nations said, we're not going to do this long term. We're not going to do this long term. No. You know what they're going to do? Extract money for the average people. What's left of the proletariat culture? They're trying to kill the proletariat culture. The proletariat people, what you call The white folk, whoever, it's over for y'all. But y'all know damn well that these red pill spaces are telling the truth because they in certain industries, if they're into business, tech, whatever, that thing in the pandemic was a distraction. What they did was destroy the economy and they trying to make this tech culture. That's what we got now out of the pandemic. The pandemic did spare things up, but they set everybody back. So yeah, the UBI system is going to be standard if the Democrats going to win. If it is a blue wave, the only way you can do that is everybody's got to agree on regulate AI. You have to have a good candidate that's with that, and I think they are pushing same sexual politics on the blue side is what's going to be their downfall. And the reason I say that the e files, what they call the Epstein files, right? We call them e files over here. Um, it's not going to work, man, because they should have been solved this issue years ago. Um, his presidency and now his second, it's over. The only way you can do that is they have to look at who is getting physical outside on the ground. Next year is going to be very violent. Yes, be safe out there. Believe in your Second Amendment. Do your things. Be ready. And I said, so-called black people always be ready, and that's why we're good. I ain't worried about no race riot, no race war, because it don't exist. Grifters like to push this, and here's the problem with that: they can't even defend themselves. The people that you think that are going to do anything, they've been exposed as toddlers. They're not going to do anything. They're children. Life's children have issues, man. T. Robinson, the one to execute the golden ticket, he's a prime example of that. And y'all got to get away from that shit. He's not going to help y'all back in the future. He's not going to help y'all. I'm sorry. He's just not going to help y'all. Y'all can miss me with, oh, it's going to be all out war. No, it's not. No, it's not, because somebody's hijacking and you got double agents on each side. They want the niggas controlled. They don't want them destroyed. No, because they can't reproduce. They don't trust a proletariat person. He's a moron. They'll sacrifice you before they trust you. They'll trust a nigga before they trust you, a homosexual before you. And then he'll have some money in the bank like a millionaire on the low and be a sellout and promote grifting. That's the new economy. That's grifting in tech is the new wave. That's the next hustle. And it may be semi AI driven. It can be anything. You can't trust these damn tech people. It's propaganda and money. That's why politics has always been fake for years and years, but people fall for the okey doke and don't understand that utilitarianism is the most dangerous philosophy that brainwashes people. And they use colloquialisms, they use race tools, and they also use propaganda to control you. It's all propaganda in the day, most of it, especially online, because they lie about our people, about everything. So we can't trust the people that comes to the world. We don't trust nobody at this point. So yeah, it's a lot of things happening right now, and he's under the foul impression. It's a lot of bullshit coming out his way, and it is what it is, man. I just don't see no refuge with these people, man. Like, our people's been brainwashed and destroyed, but the ones got the truth, they ain't fucking with y'all like that. So, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to look at the big picture of everything. So, I'm just looking at this stuff right now. Yeah, I'm distracted with this parkour. Y'all excuse me in the background. I was just clicking for a minute. Just trying to gather my thoughts for a minute. But yeah, man, y'all just got to pay attention to the signs, what's going on. Like, I'm not worried about dude in the White House. Something may happen to him. I'm saying he's at that age. He's done, bro. He's waving a white flag. I've been calling this shit out for years, man. Like, this dude, if he wins, it's over, bro. Everything's gonna change. People getting their mattresses ready, guns ready. Everybody's trying to survive out here, man. They ain't worried about dude because he gonna be gone in a year or two. He ain't gonna make it in 2028 because he's old. And they're gonna probably change the rules how you gonna be president when you're a certain age. They'll get you up out of there, man. Cause it's gonna get to a point that they're looking at it like this ain't it. Like I've been saying what's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not tripping about anything or going crazy and all this other shit. But that's the stuff that we see. We see this stuff all the damn time. So yeah, man, like it's crazy to think that people still buy into the propaganda of so-called white supremacy, which is a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Like, I understand that's a term that niggas like to use, C words like to use, but in reality, it's nothing supreme about these people. They proven time and time again they're not supreme. They're frauds. They get online and say, "Oh, I'm supreme. I'm supreme." It don't exist, bro. When niggas talk like it and like they supreme, you worry about them too much. They're irrelevant as we speak. Most people don't even trust them like that. It's gonna get to a point y'all gonna realize that. I'm not saying it's not real. The systematic and all that. We already know the systematic cultural classism or what they call racism exists. Yes, but they're losing that fight based off birth rates. Y'all can say that the majority all you want. That's a propaganda lie to me. They're really the minority. They lie about those numbers all the time. I don't believe in the census or anything from them. So everything they say is bullshit. I'm not going to debate nobody about it because they're fucking morons. Stop using Chat GPT. It's false. And fuck the Pew Research. It's fake research. Some of it's good, but Pew Research can be bullshit half the time. I take everything in a grain of salt nowadays because a lot of things can be lied and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I don't believe in they shit what they be saying. Not some damn so-called frauds over here, fake conservatives. They actually racist liberals that don't like niggas. So that's why a lot of people ain't voting Democrat no more or Republican. They shouldn't. Just be independent and move on, bro. Like this stuff right here is dying out. That's why the red pill space is going to get bigger and bigger in the future. And you're going to see a red wave in that online more, and you're not going to stop it. Relationships shouldn't be the topic. It should be about economics and everything else. If you're a true diehard red pill person, you should move different because society will be very nihilistic in the future. You have to have a nihilistic mindset to understand that destruction is needed sometimes to heal the planet and sometimes to survive. And then we have to rebuild it in an aristocratic way. They said, why aristocracy matters, sir? Well, some things matter if you want to be that wealthy. But if you, like I said, they don't share the wealth. That's not true. They can share the wealth. It depends on who you are. All aristocrat or aristocracy people are not created equal. It depends on what culture you bring. If it's nihilistic, if it's straightforward, stoicism and all that, that's what should go back to. Now, is Sir preaching patriarchy? No, you gotta have a little bit of patriarchy. Um, I don't believe in no matriarch because matriarchies don't exist and they don't work. Patriarchy does work, but here's the thing: we give women certain rights. So I don't even call it patriarchy no more. I call it basically anarchy in some aspect, but a little bit of, but I don't like capitalism. I think capitalism ran its course because it leads to utilitarianism. It leads to one way, and there's no end result. You already got suckers that don't want to pay nobody. And I don't believe in regulated capitalism because it don't exist. It only be regulated, be replaced by a nihilistic viewpoint. You have to be a true progressive and revolutionary to understand that Second Amendment is standard. Anybody that's anti-Second Amendment, I don't want to speak to you. Y'all frauds, especially on the internet. I hate when people is not pro Second Amendment. You know why? Because they're frauds. They think, oh, I know everything. I know da 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 da. I know this. I know that. And they act crazy on the internet and talk crazy. And he said, I got kids to feed and I ain't care about no gun. You tell these so-called racists that they got guns, they got missiles, they got drones and all that. I know some of our brothers do in the military. Yeah, other people on the ground got them too. It's a digital world. You can say the Second Amendment is a little bit outdated, yeah, but it could be revised. You can give it to civilians and give them something to work with, and that's it. But I think people got to understand that the dating culture has been dead for years. It's been dead since I was in the workplace. It actually died before 2015. If you modern dating culture now, is it dead completely? Yes, because online uh dating done ruined it since prior to online dating, because people was offline the first years of the 21st century. They was outside. Everybody was outside from 2000. I'll say 2009, but 2010 was worse. But 2012 destroyed everything. That's why everything is online. I'll say from 2000 to 2010 was everybody was outside. After that, 2011, they was trying to push this online shit, the NDAA shit. And then after that, that's how you got a lot of NDAs now. National, what's it called? Disclosure agreement or some shit like that. And you also got the Android culture that shattered everything on the internet, and you think that's valuable, manageable. It's crazy. But you realize this is it, man. This is the culture that we spun across. But mainly, I think the culture changed. That I'll never forget. This is my second channel. I understand that I've been on YouTube for like over 18 years now. This channel I had, what is it? How many years? It's like probably 13, 14 years or something like that. I'm gonna calculate this channel. Hold on for a minute. Calculator. Hold on for a minute. I got a lot of bullshit. Get this T-gram off my shit. Okay. I ain't getting it off of it. I'm just saying get this thing off my screen. Okay. 2012. Subtract. 13 years. This channel's been 13 years old, right? But I've been on YouTube for 18 years in 2007, right? That's a long time ago. Technically 18 years. And this channel's so old. The next time it would be 20 years old would be 2027. I've been on YouTube for 20 years. But here's the thing. Let's go with 2020. Let's go back to 2012 here. Subtract. 15 years. In 2027, this will be 15 years old. In 2027, I've been on YouTube for 20 years. 15 years of that will be on this channel most of the rest of my years. That'd be 15 years. This second channel I got right here. But my main channel, it was my actual name, but I probably changed. I'll never get it back because I did some damage to that channel. Let's just say I was in a psyop takedown. Let's say I was there for like 5 years and stopped at 2012. It was supposed to be a year in May. Been on this shit for a long time, man. Like I've been saying this stuff for years. So 2012 will be 18 years. I'll be on YouTube, and that's a long time. That's a long time. 18 years with this channel. But mainly, if YouTube is still around, let's try 32. Been on this particular channel for 20 years. Long time, right? That's a long time. If we're around, I don't know what the world will look like then. I said a lot of shit. So yeah, this website is just crazy. Yeah, the internet's crazy, man. It's a crazy time to be alive. You know, it's been a long time. So I've been knowing this stuff for years and watched the evolution of things, and I'm just like, yeah, I can leave this shit if I want to. And sir, when you gonna stop live streaming? I can stop live streaming right now and don't put any content up. Most of it's being my uh live stream views, and that's it. I may do a different topic there and there and just keep it pushing. I ain't gonna live stream every day. I'll push it, let's just say the end of the month thing, and instead of doing all streaming and all that, I can do that. I have a right to. And that's how you get views, you know what I'm saying? That's how you get your attention. And some people say, I stream every day. That's you. But I get this shit right. I'll be like, I'm here. But let's talk about last night's games that I saw. I saw the overtime game with the Sixers and the Grizzlies. Ja Morant, he don't want to be there. The Sixers look good. The only thing they need is get rid of that fucking Embiid. And I shouts out to the dude that the locker room talking about Luca. Luca sucks. Well, I agree with him. The Lakers suck, period. You know, y'all have a 41-year-old. His birthday was yesterday. You know what that means? He's 41 years old, and the people that's born the next month, they'll be 42. If he's the same age as him, they'll be 42, and he'll be 42 that same year. That's weird, ain't it? You have a late birthday the year before that, and they got a birthday ahead of you in the early parts of the month of the next year, and they already a year older than you. So you got a couple months to go to be their same age. A lot of months to go, which is insane, bro. It's crazy. I don't see how people can do it, bro. Like, I'm just, yeah, they can do it. It's just crazy, bro. Like the world is really out here, man. The gaming world is going crazy. They just took Expeditions 33's award and the Indie Awards for using AI. They said no AI in games. Well, that's what y'all get. Y'all promote it and y'all gonna want to regulate. That's why someone's gonna vote blue in the future. All these people that are saying they're gonna vote blue. They want Trump out of there. Lithium deposit value at 1 trillion has been discovered in the United States. Okay. Talking about lithium deposit value. He said McDermott Calderia in Oregon. This is by earth.com. Is attracting attention for what it could be one of the largest lithium deposits ever identified in the United States. Many view it its potential boost for domestic battery production. Okay. Domestic battery production, while local communities voice concern over the impact on wildlife and cultures. I see, here we go again. They don't want no truth. See, when they talk about environmental stuff in Earth and trying to save their economy, that's what Democrats are trying to push. They're gonna mess with it more and more. Visa delays. Uh-oh. They still messing with the planet. It's crazy, bro. Welcome to the BS. Oh man. It's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy what's going on. But you got people out here believing that everything's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Under this fool. But y'all better look at Your mindset, man, it's over. It's over, bro. But like the one thing I can say about what's going on right now, the sports world is crazy. Everything is just finesse driven. Everything like this mediocrity. We can talk about mediocrity and everything, sports and politics. I said earlier. What I mean by that is you see a lot of it. It's standard, and this is the modern day culture. What we see now in everything, even in these so-called red pill spaces. A lot of this stuff ties into what I was saying earlier that the red pill space is not technically dead. It's here, but the real ones are telling you the truth. But the ones that you see for fitness and all that, they're grifters. They're the ones that's fake red pilling and lying to the people about success. You gotta understand, a lot of people lie about what they do. Okay. This is nothing new. So what they're doing is they're trying to make sure that this ain't the problem, but it is the problem. You gotta understand, a lot of people fake stuff online and they tell lies all the time. It's just crazy, and when you look at mediocrity, that's the standard of what's going on. So our shouts out to y'all in here. TC Killer, Tyrone Church, salute to you. And what you call it, salute the ones that came in earlier in the stream, the ones that left. Appreciate y'all. Khalil, yeah, salute to you too coming in here. But yeah, let me make my point about mediocrity. Mediocrity is standard in the world. That's why America loves mediocrity right now, because they said why mediocrity is a problem. It's still a problem. You see it all the time. You see it in content, and I'm like, why y'all love it so much? Why y'all love it so much? But I know sports you see it all the time. Teams just don't want to win. They already got paid. Once they get paid, they're good. And that's going to continue until things change. You got to be drastic with what you believe in. See, if I was on panels talking this, and I tell them, look, no one cares about relationships. All relationships have some form of a lot of mediocrity in it. All relationships are mediocre. I'll tell you like that. No one cares about relationships because they're mediocre. You just want to be friends with a person, and then one night you're out of there because it's feudalism in relationships. Nobody's marrying each other no more. Everybody's frauds now. You know what I mean? They're frauds now because you got a lot of frauds on the internet, and you got a lot of homosexuals acting crazy, couch surfing. Like my man was saying, like, yeah, I've heard that term 4 years prior before that nigga said it. Now he's saying it. Now who's listening to Space Who? Man, I got another athletic article. I'm gonna read this. I mean, enough of the red pill shit. I didn't talk about that half of the hours and things, and talk about current events, sports, the video game world being mediocre. Everything's mediocre, man. It's everybody that went down the drain. So, anyways, let's see what the Pistons talking about. The mailbag NBA trade deadline approach is shifting. What's the plan for Jaden Ivey? Now, I've heard he was gonna. There's a rumor named Jack Simon. He had an article and said, and "This is New York Times, the Athletic. The Athletic. They would say." But I read another article with Jack Simon, another reporter on the NBA. He said, to do that trade with Lou Dort and Jaden Ivey, and this is from the Oklahoma City's camp, their article, the team. I don't know if that's alleged to the team, but don't quote me on that. But it was by Jack Simon, and he reported that if they want to get rid of Lou Dort, they'll send him to Detroit. OKC really wants Gafford, and then Jaden Ivey goes to the Mavericks. I don't know if this is a different article talking about it, because that's the only one that I've heard from that article from Jack Simon. Simon in Simone. That's his name, Jack Simon. That reported that. He reported that. I was like right around Christmas time, like Christmas Day or something like that. Yeah, Christmas Day. I saw that article on Christmas Day. This is December 30th. And that's reported yesterday. It's New Year's Eve. Jaden Ivey's still working his way back from the extended injury layoff. Gregory Shamas and Getty Images. And this is by Hunter Patterson. But the Detroit Pistons are once again exceeding expectations under coach JB Bickerstaff. But after finishing the top 6 of the Eastern Conference last season, they're 24-8 record this season has them to a top to the East. They're 25-8 now. They just beat the Lakers. So if you're reading this as an old article from yesterday, now they're 25-8. So the record of this season has the team atop of the East. But questions remain about their approach on February 5th trade deadline. Plus, what's the plan for the 4-year pick or 4-year guard? Yeah, the 4-year guard Jaden Ivey as he works his way back after an 11-month layoff due to injury. We've got you covered on the answers for those questions and more. Let's unpack. Questions have been lightly edited for style and clarity and grammar. See? You see how it is, grammar and grammar. We won't read this article. We're going to finish it halfway. Okay, where do you see the front office priority being placed on the trade deadline? Keep and going at the trade deadline, but keep going with the good vibes or push all in by packaging Tobias Harris expiring deal, despite being a locker room favorite, along with a young piece and a draft capital for an established borderline star, Bradley K. That's by Bradley K. I'm still expecting Detroit's front office to be opportunistic but not aggressive. The Pistons have a slim lead over the New York Knicks for the number one seed in the conference. Trajan Langdon, Detroit's president of basketball operations, has openly expressed his desires to let the team continue growing internally since taking over at the beginning of last season. While there could be some changes to improve around that margin, says another reliable three-point shooter outside of Duncan Robinson or a scoring threat off the bench. But don't expect the Pistons to sacrifice their youth and draft capital to make any big swing trades. That could alter the fabric of the roster. I know some fans seem to want Detroit to push it all in, but give it how much youth this team has. I just don't see how I don't see as it of now. The Pistons have exceeding expectations in 2 consecutive seasons, and they're just getting an experiment what they can become as a healthy unit. It's hard to argue with allowing a first place team, the runaway, to reach its full potential. Has JB spoken about the plan for Ivy? Given his role pre-injury, it seems fairly evident that he's on minutes restriction and being eased back in, but there's a timeline of sorts. Is this goal to have him to return to the starting lineup, 6 man? What we expect moving forward? Mark C. That's by Mark C. Okay, by Mark C. Bickerstaff spoke directly to the plan for Ivy ahead of the Pistons win over the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, I watched that game. I watched it. That was a beat down. And I watched the one with the Lakers too. I watched all the games. Their road trips from they lost to Utah and the Clippers. That was brutal to watch. So he said there's plans for him to ramp up where he's comfortable so that he can get back up to playing the bulk of the minutes. Bickerstaff made no mention of the timeline or gave specifics on the details of the plan. As things stand, it's safe to assume Ivy continued to come off the bench for the foreseeable future. Advanced stats, however, support the potential reunion between Ivy and Kate Cunningham as Detroit's backcourt if Bickerstaff decides to make that move down the road. So entering Sunday's game against the LA Clippers, which they lost by the way, and then third North years and part of the season, blah blah blah. But this team is getting better. Okay, so they ain't really talking about nothing about the articles. That's it on that. But they're in a good place. I did heard a rumor with Lou Dort and others, and I heard that trade rumor about with Gafford going to OKC and Lou Dort. This is by Jack Simon. Don't take my word for it because it might be something different. And there's different articles. Trade deadline's like February 5th, I believe. That's 2 months from now, but next year. And I can say, yeah, OKC's they paid the big three. They're trying to get rid of Lou Dort and send him probably to Detroit. And Jaden Ivey may go to Dallas for Kyrie. Not for Kyrie, but for Daniel Gafford, because they'll send him to Dallas because Kyrie's still hurt. Because we don't know when he's gonna come back. And Daniel Gafford, Mavericks trying to ship him to OKC. So Lou Dort goes to Detroit and then Ivy goes to Mavericks. It'll be like a swap of each teams. It reminds me of that Vin Baker. This trade reminds me of the Vin Baker, Sean Kemp, and Tyrone Hill trade back in the night. That's what it reminds me of, that type of swap. Very interesting for their careers. So that's enough for today. This is current events. This is Daily Hump Dump, the 45th edition. I'll see y'all. It's coming up next year. And this is gonna be an interesting year. We're gonna talk about real current events, and I'm gonna report what's going on, and I dissect like I always do. Shalom to the people of Israel, to the Gentiles. Until next time, and that's it. Y'all be safe. Enjoy your day, and stay ready.